How's it going tonight?
Your keyboard
Guten
is
Tag.
super duper loud.
Yeah, it is.
Clackety clackety. It's all good.
Cheesy. Oh, look at you guys in this fancy, like, Twitch multiple screen situation.
Oh snap, here we go.
Yes, we are live. How's everybody doing tonight? What are we up to? Anybody?
Everything.
Anybody? I like
Up to
waiting
the
for
world?
the chat room.
There might be a delay, I'm guessing.
Yeah, there's always a delay.
Yeah, that's why we talked to the
Twitch
chat room in
is
the
fun.
pre-show and a little bit in the after-show. Because during the show we would just get all messed up.
Hmm.
What do you guys think of the background?
Me like it. It's
Mm.
very
Good.
pretty.
You just like it because Uther's hanging out.
Yeah. Uther baby.
I got to study paladins for the last couple of days. That was exciting.
Nice. Pally Power. Who's a paladin in the
God.
chat room? Pallies are awesome.
Whoever's complaining about being nerfed.
Aww.
I know, I used to play Paladin and then they came out with a monk.
Yeah.
Paladins are still better.
I have a level 14 paladin.
You
Oh
know,
my gosh. Joe Brewer in the chat room said that we need to put Uther in the Space Marine skin. I love that skin. It is probably the best skin I have ever seen. Hands
Yes.
down.
Hands
Hands down.
that's my favorite skin too. I just didn't have it with a nice black background, so I could get rid of it and
Yeah.
put it in there all nice.
It's all good.
Eventually, I will get it.
They
Pretty
need
awesome.
to most definitely make that, or take the idea from that one cosplayer and make a marine material.
Yeah,
That one cosplayer that did that, that was cool.
Yes. Oh,
yeah. I think they just need to take every Warcraft hero and redo them in SC2 stuff.
Platform, yeah.
Yeah, I think that'd be fun. Actually, I think we have a
I'm sure
question
they
all
will.
about that today. I think somebody actually asked us about skins and what we want to see, so we can't give
Yeah.
them all the secrets now.
all the secrets.
The gun sword was a little far past. You mean 8, but yes, it was, which was cool. I was cool with that.
Gunblades.
I was definitely cool with that.
Well, just so you guys know, we do have some excellent sounders and some music for the beginning of the show. You'll have to listen to the podcast to hear those, though, because I failed at getting them to come through Skype. So we'll have them next week, so you guys can hear them live.
I can play them through Skype.
Oh, you can play them through
Uh-huh.
Skype?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, then
Let me just fire up my repeaters.
yeah, and they're in the folder. So
Alrighty. I'll be right on that. Give me like 1 minute.
Okay, the timer's going. Oh shit! I knocked over Diablo. Sorry, buddy. I didn't mean it. Didn't mean it. I'm just gonna keep this in front of the screen the whole time. It'll just be this.
why? Because you want to make me jealous that I didn't get that? Is that like your goal?
Yes. Wait, can I multi-hand this? I don't think I can. Uh,
Okay.
Oh, those are a lot smaller than I thought they were going to be.
oh yeah, they're not very big.
Me.
I thought they were going to be like the like the mini pop figures that are like that big. Mini pop, is that what they're called?
Hear me.
Yes, we can hear you.
Ta-da. Oh god, they're gonna fall.
I believe I only have the intro and then the new heroes thing.
Oh, if you go into our Google Docs, there's a document called Sounders, and they're all in that. We're all learning today. David, you've been very quiet.
Yeah, no, yeah, just sort of like chilling out, getting ready. You know, I'm very excited, very pumped for this episode. So I'm just checking out Xantar's cute but deadly toys there. So when I saw the artist, the first thing I thought was that Fusili Jerry episode of Seinfeld. I was a little concerned someone would hurt themselves with that. So.
I'm just happy to take a break from League because the game is really broken today. They broke
Yes!
it overnight.
I played it today and I was losing with like really bad teammates. That was the problem. People kept
Oh, and let me know when I should start hitting the record button on my end.
Yeah, I'll do a countdown.
Yeah.
We are not prepared. No, we just come in here to talk and have fun first, isn't that? No, just kidding.
I'm gonna find something else to play for you really quick, just to make sure you can hear it through Skype.
If it's not Careless Whisper by George Michaels, you should leave now. It better be Careless Whisper.
Spurs.
Careless Whisper by Shawn Michaels.
Yes, Nagram. If you hit the little cog icon at the bottom left of the chat screen.
There you go.
Yay, we can keep Rem for the whole show.
There we go. Good
All
thing.
right.
But yeah, there's a
Oh.
cog bottom left of the chat window. If you hit that, you can go. Or no, yeah. You can hit pop out chat.
Okay, I'll be our soundboard for the night.
Awesome. There we go. Okay. You guys ready to get started?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, everyone have Audacity ready?
Oh crap, no.
Well, we have sounders.
From now on, Rem can only talk in sounders.
I am ready.
Okay, let me get my show notes actually in front of me. And hit record in 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to the Nexus, the podcast for the heroes of Blizzard Entertainment.
Thank you all for tuning in to episode 2 of The Nexus. As usual, I'm your host, Adam Eastwood, and I brought my co-hosts along with me. We have our Paladin by day and our Hearthstone Paladin by night, Remedies.
Hey, what's up, everybody?
We have our lore-loving, time-altering gamer, David Troy.
Hey everybody, hey chat room, hey everybody listening.
And for the first time on our show, we have a co-host of Holy Shat, veteran mage and MOBA support top lane, Xantar.
Hello, friends. Thank you for having me.
Now, last week we had some time to kind of get you acquainted with the three of us. Well, Xantar's here kind of for our first show. He'll be kind of on and off at the first couple... He'll be on and off at the beginning, but later on he'll be a permanent addition to our show. So, Xantar, why don't you go ahead and give us a little idea of your experience with MOBAs and with Blizzard games?
So I played Warcraft 1 when it first came out. I think I was maybe 4 or 5 at the time. I was pretty young, back when everything was 9 times 9.5-inch floppy disks, which by the 7th one it would not fail to install and you'd have to start again. But so played Warcraft 1, played Warcraft 2, took a little break in Warcraft 3, but brought back in towards the end of it and dabbled in the original Dota custom mod a little bit, not tons. So I had a little bit of exposure then and took a long break from that and kind of focused on MMOs and WoW and many others. But got back into MOBAs a little, probably about a year and a bit ago with League of Legends and started in Season 2. Did a little bit of ranked, not tons, so didn't get super far in that, and have been taking it a little bit more seriously this season. Due to going away for BlizzCon, definitely missed my gold mark, but I'll be at least gold, if not platinum, next season. So I'm pretty excited to be getting back into MOBAs and the competitive scene.
Mm-hmm. So it's nice to say that you're kind of our expert in the group.
I don't know about expert, but been around the block. I don't know that translates into good, but I'll hope it helps at least.
Well, definitely glad to have you around for the show. So, David, what's your week been like in Blizzard games?
Well, finally got a chance to get back into raiding. So we got 9 out of 14 in Siege of Orgrimmar in World of Warcraft. Getting back a little bit into Diablo 3. Hadn't been out of that for a while, but I wanted to jump back in. And I'm going to start hitting StarCraft as well for the first time. So looking forward to that. I also tried another game, and I'll leave some of those details about what I tried coming up. I'm new to the MOBAs, but I'll just say the game rhymes with Schmeek of Schmedgen.
And Rem, what have you been up to lately?
I raided in World of Warcraft. We got all the way to Garrosh. We didn't,
Yay!
but we're there. I've been playing a lot of what you said, Schmeeg of Schmedgens. Is that what we're calling it? Played a lot of that. Today was terrible. People were just cranky, whiny players, and it wasn't fun. But yeah, and I've been playing Hearthstone, working on building a deck out of all Battlecry minions. But this isn't a Hearthstone podcast, so yeah, I've just been gaming like a lot.
A lot. Xantar, you been gaming a lot too?
Yeah, I mean, going away to BlizzCon for a while kind of starved me of video games towards the end of it, because I stayed in LA for about a full week, and so a couple days after BlizzCon as well. And by the time I got home, I was really itching to get on League and to resub to WoW and get excited that. I might dabble in some StarCraft soon, but yeah, the big preseason 4 patch for League dropped, so that's been taking up a lot of my time over the last 24 hours or so.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've been playing the same games as you guys, League of Legends. Oh, Schmeegus Meggins, or whatever you want to call it. And just raiding. Very limited time, unfortunately, this week. A lot of other things going on. So we're going to get pretty much right into the news. There's no new news really going out there just yet, but we didn't really talk too much about Battlegrounds last week. So I figured we'll kind of go a little more in depth with the Battlegrounds. So I know one of the main features that Blizzard's working on is making it more teamwork orientated, even when it comes to the Battlegrounds. The objectives require more coordination, overcoming obstacles. Do you think this is a good move for Blizzard, Xantar, or do you think it's going to affect the game in ways that we're not seeing yet?
I think it's a tough thing to gauge. I mean, some of the downfalls about other MOBAs are objectives. If they're done well, they're really compelling, and they can really bring a new aspect to the game that's not just, hey, let's kill everything that moves. And it can make a lot of things interesting to contest and force fights and things like that. So if it's balanced carefully while making it challenging and the rewards being worth doing, but not taking away from what these games are at their core, which is killing other champions, I think it can be really, really worthwhile.
Mm-hmm. Now, do you think that it's going to hamper the game in terms of jumping in without a group of friends?
Generally, I say yes. Looking at other MOBAs and some of the things that have been issues in the past is that initial jump in and that steep learning curve right out of the gate. And it's not very easy to figure out what to do if you're not with friends. That being said, Blizzard is Blizzard, and if there's anyone that can make it fairly easy to understand and this core concepts easy to grasp, I think that they can be the ones that do it.
Rem, you had a little bit of time to play it over at BlizzCon, like we've talked before. Did you get a chance to play any of the maps that had those objectives, or was there just one map that you got to play?
I did. It was one map that was available to play, and it was objective based. When I was playing it, I was kind of because we only had 20 minutes, and that was it. So I was trying to soak in as much as I could, so I wasn't entirely paying attention to, I guess, the entire objectives, because I was trying to look at all the skins, look at all the spell effects that all of the enemies were doing, my team was doing, and I was literally trying to analyze this game in 20 minutes. But that being said, I noticed that the map that we were playing is the one where you can curse the enemy team, and so you had to I think you had to cap pillars or altars or something like that. And so the other team excuse me, the other team had got the curse on my team, and I was like, oh man, we're gonna lose. I thought that it would kind of be a snowball after that, since they were successful in the objectives. However, my team actually made a pretty good comeback even after our team was cursed. So as far as that kind of stuff goes, completing the objectives for your team isn't necessarily an indication of winning or losing a match. It is a good tip in your favor, but the other team does have a good chance at coming back and stopping the snowballing effects. So that's kind of, in a nutshell, my 2 cents on that.
Mm-hmm. I know the objectives that we saw from the virtual ticket that looked most interesting to me was when you were in the Blackheart Bay, I believe it was, and you had to collect the coins to pay Blackheart in order to bombard your enemy. And you basically, as they kind of showed in a picture, you became the treasure goblin that everyone was trying to beat up to take their gold. David, you had a chance to take a look at that battleground?
Honestly, the battleground that really caught my attention the most was the Dragon Knight one.
Mm-hmm.
I did, yeah. I mean, the pirate sort of themed one. I did take a look at. Again, it's before I really dove deep into the MOBA scene, so I was a little bit alien to me. The one I really thought of was the Dragon Knight one, and that was the one I really kind of wanted to get involved in. I like the idea of one of the characters jumping in, kind of transforming into this monster running around, super powered, smashing the other champions and everything like that. And so that was the one I was concentrating on more than anything else, to be honest.
Mm-hmm. No, it's nice to see those differences. I know playing League of Legends, for me, it's been very repetitive. That's why I think I stopped for a little while, and recently I've kind of got back into it, and that's been my history with League of Legends, where I constantly play for long times and then I stop because I feel like I've been doing the same thing. I think one thing that they're looking to do is very much like in StarCraft, where they mix the maps up every season. We're going to have new battlegrounds in a pool based on our feedback. And knowing Blizzard, they're really going to take the time to listen to us. I feel like they've done that with a lot of different things in their other games, and they'll continue to do that with the Heroes of the Storm. What do you guys think? You think it'll be a good thing that they're going to mix the battlegrounds up? I mean, I don't see why it would be a bad thing.
Yeah, but sorry, Xantar, go ahead.
No, go ahead. No, you.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, I really hope that they do something like that because everybody loves new content. And typically when you have games that introduce new things, often players they tend to be happier and a lot more satisfied. So I would be incredibly ecstatic if every season, quote unquote, if they even implement a season structure, if we got new battlegrounds and stuff every season, that'd be great.
And I'm going to play devil's advocate. I hope they don't get too carried away with battlegrounds. I love the idea, and I think it's going to be really, fun things to do on the side. Much as I look at, at League of Legends, you have your kind of core, your 3-lane traditional MOBA map, and you also have, your all random, all mid. You have Dominion. You have now you have One for All, and I think I look at those as kind of additional experiences into the core experience. And I worry that if they go a little bit too much on the battleground end, and if they start to introduce too much, I worry that might water down the experience of what is the core game, it being its MOBA and at its based elements, somewhat. And I think as long as they tread that balance lightly of still keeping that core, lane map being the priority, where it's always kind of the kind of the same elements that you see in general MOBAs, and they focus on these battlegrounds as an additional form of content, that you play with friends or you play when you need a break, which is kind of how I handle, a 5v5 in League versus ARAMs or One for Alls or whatnot. I'll go in and I'll do 5v5s, maybe 10 matches in a row, and then to blow off some steam, I'll go in and do an ARAM or a Dominion or something like that. So I'm just concerned that they do get a little bit too wild and they water down the core content.
Okay, just really quick. I'm gonna just really quick for the people who are listening who may not know what an ARAM is.
That's what I was gonna say.
Which includes me.
Okay, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I figured we should probably touch on that because that's like the whole thing of MOBAs. We have all of these
acronyms.
Jargon.
Yeah, acronyms. It's kind of like the military, but an ARAM is all random, all mid. So what it is one lane, and usually your characters are randomized. You don't really get an option. You get a random character, and everybody plays in one lane. So it's like like a hallway, if you will, and you just brawl. That's it. Like that's the map, and it's just like a straight cutthroat kind of game. They're really fun.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, continue.
I was going to also say, for another explanation is the Dominion. What's the difference between Dominion and your regular game?
A Dominion's kind of it's a little bit more of a capture the flag style map. So you have it's kind of set up as a circle with capture points throughout the circle, a few buffs throughout the middle of the map as well. And the goal is to push lanes of minions back to a tower with some champions, capture it, and the more you capture, the more damage is dealt to the enemy Nexus, bringing it to a win. So it's kind of like a capture a flag in a MOBA setting.
It's good to make sure people know what we're talking about, especially the new players around like David. I know he hasn't had as much experience as the rest of us. And, getting caught up in jargon can sometimes be the downfall. So the other thing we also got to take a quick peek into is the map editor. I know I took some time to kind of watch the video a few times because there wasn't too much information there. It was kind of like, hey, look what we can do. They click and put all this stuff out there. I think this is going to create a lot of fun for the game because you can have a lot of custom maps similar to what they do in StarCraft 2. I know sometimes when you're kind of bored, you kind of jump in and you just play a couple different maps that are made there just to be fun. And that's important, I think, for the genre of MOBAs because that's where they started. Without the custom map back in Warcraft 3, we wouldn't have seen tower defense or MOBAs. Xantar, did you get a chance to kind of look it over at all?
Yeah, I took a quick peek, and I love the idea, and it's not something we really see in other games right now in this genre. And I think tying this back into Battlegrounds as we were just talking, I think a good way for Blizzard to kind of handle this is to keep their focus on the main part, that main map, and then watch what the community makes. Because the community is always what makes these real gems in terms of content. It's what made MOBAs. It's what made some of these amazing custom mods on StarCraft and other games as well. And I think if they watch that and see what the community is really aching for and what everyone's downloading and playing, what a better petri dish to see this is where we should get involved and spend some of our resources. Take this idea, whether they're paying the person that came up with it or not is totally irrelevant to me. And take that idea, refine it, and then say, okay, community, you really like this. Here's Blizzard's take on it, and deliver it in a nice little bow.
Mm-hmm. And it's a nice place where Blizzard can put in maps that they're thinking about trying out and say, oh, here, this is just an arcade-style map. Go have fun. It's how they do their balance testing currently with StarCraft 2. Is they're like, here's a map with the changes we're thinking of doing. What do you guys think in the end?
Yeah, it's kind of like an opportunity to do an open beta without it being a beta.
Mm-hmm. It's like a little focus group.
Mm-hmm.
Have either of you guys? I don't know how much StarCraft 2 David and Rem have really played. Have you guys ever played in the arcade? Any of the maps?
No, I played the last time I played StarCraft. Like played was Brood Wars, so that was like a long time ago. But I do have friends that play a lot of StarCraft, and they actually prefer playing custom maps over official game maps. So that's something to be said about the community and the things that everyday people can do for a video game.
Mm.
I don't really have a lot of experience in StarCraft. I did kind of have a question going back, though, when we were talking about Battlegrounds and rotating them in and out.
Okay.
In your experience with League of Legends, and them coming out with maps and such like that. Has there been a time when they've come out with a map that just didn't work? Or a battleground that really didn't work at all and the community just didn't go for it? Because I'm kind of interested to see what the results are of that.
League itself hasn't really. Dota 2 hasn't been out long enough for them to really jump into that pool. League does have some. I mean, the Dominion, which is the capture the flag one I mentioned, which isn't very popular. It's not one that very many people do, and in fact, lots of people that have played for some time have never touched Dominion. I've played maybe 3 matches of it myself in my year and a bit of playing League. So they come out with ones that are hit and miss, but there are always those couple of people that really swear by them, and I don't know necessarily that once it's there you would ever want to take it out, but that's why I say they have to be careful about how many they're taking out, because it'd be really easy to, all of a sudden you have 10 or 15 and people are only playing 3. And then it's easy for the new person to look at and say, where do I start? And B, this game's got a lot of stuff that nobody's doing. Is it really that good?
Oh, I agree with you 100%.
That League of Legends does is like if you're a new player, when you very first start playing, you can only play like 2 game modes, 2 maps, I think. It's been a while, but I'm pretty sure that's the way it works. So they kind of like ease you into the different options that you can, like the different types of play modes and the different maps that you can play on. So I hope Blizzard employs something like that.
Yeah, I can tell you for sure that's how it still works.
Yeah, okay. It's been a while since I had a level 1 account, but
So we're going to go ahead and move into our next segment of the show. We're going to move into our hero spotlight.
Woot. Oh, sounder. I have so many windows open. I'm so sorry. Okay. Here we go.
This is the Hero Spotlight.
Now, each week we're going to take one hero and really talk the lore behind them and the gameplay. One thing for now that we're going to have to do is we're going to have to kind of make up names for some of the abilities because they're not all named out there. So we're going to talk about it, kind of compare it to some of the heroes we know in League of Legends, and just kind of have a little bit of fun with it for now. So we're going to go and I'm going to throw it over to Dave. Dave, you know a little bit about the lore of Uther because he is our spotlight of the week.
Yeah, exactly. I guess the question is, who's Uther the Lightbringer? He's a World of Warcraft character. They're actually going all the way back to the Warcraft games themselves. We're really introduced to him in the lore. He's essentially an apprentice cleric in the Church of the Light. If you're not familiar with Warcraft lore, the Church of the Light essentially is the main good guy religion in the game ethos. The light is really sort of the equivalent of God in our society, or a benevolent God. And the light's worshipped in different ways by all the different races. In the human race, it's essentially very similar to medieval Christian type churches, the way they look at it. And Uther's essentially kind of like in the seminary at that point for the Church of the Light. When all this horde comes through the Dark Portal and all the orcs come through, the church decides to put together kind of a strike force of their best and most devout warriors. And that's the Knights of the Silver Hand. Uther's going to be the first of those and the leader. And they call themselves the Paladins. If you're not familiar with role-playing games, or you're coming from a sci-fi background, and you're not really familiar with it, a Paladin is essentially the noble knight, someone who is both a healer and a fighter, someone who is going to be the stand-up guy, be the noble person. To give a good comparison between your average just brawler, fighter, and a paladin, a good example would be someone like Conan the Barbarian as a warrior, Sir Galahad or Sir Percival as a paladin. And so this paladin becomes a strike force for the Alliance in fighting the orcs. They're very much the counter to the Death Knights of the Horde. And they're the stand-up guys. They're not going to be sneaking around. Uther is very heroic all throughout what's called the Second War, which is the main war between humanity and the Horde. They win the war a lot due to a lot of Uther's heroics, and he basically stops a big movement of treason against the Alliance as well. After the war, he becomes kind of a spiritual leader, concentrates much more on teaching, healing, kind of becoming that type of figure. That's where you see a lot of his abilities in terms of healing and in the game from as well. One big lore point for Uther is that he then teaches Prince Arthas, who is the son of the king. Arthas, of course, is another hero in the game that we'll touch on later. I'm not going to get into too much detail beyond this, just because that's really more Arthas' story than Uther. But needless to say, Arthas betrays Uther, kills him. But that's not really the end, since Uther is a very good Obi-Wan type character. Of course, his ghost has to come back, and you see his ghost. and you see his ghost come back throughout the game, both in a lot of the quests to take down Arthas, and just when you're visiting his tomb and things like that. So, I mean, in terms of a quick description of Uther, I'll just going to quote straight from his tomb. Uther lived and died to defend the kingdom of Lordaeron. Though he was betrayed by his most beloved student, we believe that his spirit lives on. He continues to watch over us, even as the shadows of our ruined land. His light is the light of all humanity, and so long as we honor his example, it shall never fade.
Yes, and
Nice.
I know we have somebody on the show who is the biggest Uther fan I have ever met. And I think the fact that I didn't call on her to talk about Uther might have, she was getting itchy there. So what do you think of Uther, Rem? You know, from a story point.
Uther is really awesome because he's like your, I don't want to call him a martyr, but he's kind of a martyr, but he's just like a really upstanding citizen, a good person, a good hero. He's just like virtuous and everything good kind of is what he represents. And he's a paladin, so.
So he's yours.
Insert frozen moment.
So he's a paladin. Drop
Yes.
the mic. No.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I
Lockout.
think one interesting thing about Uther too, and they touch on it a little bit in the novels, especially Tides of Darkness, where they're talking about the other, the other big fighters like Anduin Lothar, who I'm sure will eventually be a hero in this game. But who's kind of the general figure. They look at Uther and they respect him, and they think his powers as a paladin are great. But they also kind of look at him a little bit like, this guy's a bit of a zealot, and this guy's a little bit hardcore for me, but he's our guy, so we're gonna keep him around.
Mm-hmm. So now
he's a little bit tougher in the books than he's shown in the games or in WoW as well. He's got a little bit of a badass side to him that you don't necessarily see otherwise.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I think that's part of them, like, working him into the books and really fleshing out his character a little better in the books than you can in a game. And that's something about the art form I call, the gaming. You can't really flesh everyone out as much as you'd like because you need to hit so many different points. I think that's one thing we've talked about before with League of Legends. You don't really understand the characters as well. And that's one of the big things about Heroes of Storm that I love is I'm going to know these characters inside and out.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we're going to move on and talk a little bit about their abilities. He's a hero support, which basically means he's there to back up players, and as they said in the stream, Uther runs away. So when his first ability is just a general heal. He'll be able to heal target ally. Nothing really too much to say about that other than, it's good to have a healer around. Right, Rem?
Right. That is right.
His next ability, I've called Blinding Light. That is no official name to that. And it's, a cone effect that'll damage enemies, heal allies. Is there a current hero that does like a Blinding Light effect now, Xantar, that you know of? I was trying to think of one, but...
Not
LoL.
really in LoL, no. I mean, there's Leona, which does kind of a targeted distanced AOE, and this is kind of that, except in the way that it is a frontal cone. So that's going to be pretty interesting when it comes to team fights.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then you'll have a Stunning Light, just a basic stun. I find that stuns are pretty important in League of Legends as I play. It allows you to really defeat the heroes or help your allies defeat the heroes that are on the other side.
Crowd control in general. Slows, stuns, all of that. All of it.
Mm-hmm. Now, then you start moving into his heroic abilities. The Divine Shield, where he makes an ally invulnerable to damage. Now, there's both, can be both offensive and defense, I believe. Have you had any experience with a hero that might do something like that? I'm not too familiar with all the heroes out there, so...
Yeah, so in League, this is kind of the equivalent to what's called Kale. So she has a Divine Shield-like ability, which can be really, really, really overpowered against champions that are very, very bursty, like assassin-type characters. So this is going to be really interesting, both in a 2v2 setting, so when you have, Uther supporting one other champion, or when it comes to team fights where you've got that main guy rushing in who's your main damage dealer, and you want to do that on him so he's able to keep up a lot of sustain at high damage, or if you want to just even do it on the tank to make sure that that tank is even a little bit beefier when he jumps into 5 other people.
Mm-hmm. Definitely helpful. And Rem, did you have anything to say? It seemed like you might want to talk.
No, he stole it. I was going to talk about Kale because that's who I play in LoL, but he stole it. It's cool. It's whatever.
The thunder. The thunder.
Now, the other neat ability or gameplay mechanic that Heroes of the Storm is going to be having is the ability to have a heroic town. Basically, you can take that heroic ability and switch it out. I have no idea what this one's going to be called, but it's going to allow when Uther to die, he becomes a ghost, and he can use his abilities at reduced effectiveness. Having Uther around a little bit longer for stuns and heals, I think will be beneficial. I mean, obviously, otherwise they wouldn't put it in there. I know in World of Warcraft, it's always nice to have your priest around a little bit longer to throw out the heals. To really scrape by at the end of a fight. I know for me, I play a lot of Taric in League of Legends, and his abilities reminded me of him a lot because you have that, your heal, just direct heal, and then you have the stun. And I know playing, the support class in Taric, I spent a lot of time keeping people stunned for like an assassin like maybe Warwick or anybody else. Like I'm blanking out on every other character's name right now.
Now, I was going to say, I think Uther's, and David can correct me if I'm wrong on this one, but I think that this heroic talent, he dies, he becomes a ghost, and then he can kind of stick around and help a little bit. Isn't that kind of like a tip of the hat to the quest line that you do in World of Warcraft? When you kill the Lich King, you get an item. If you finish this entire long quest line, you get an item where you actually have to take it to Uther's grave, correct? Right,
yeah,
David?
absolutely. Yeah, after you kill the Lich King, you do take it off to Uther's grave, and he has a big spiel where he talks to you and says, that's a good job, guys, in terms of killing my student, and I'm glad that Arthas has finally found peace and that type of thing. So there's actually a few quest lines that involve Uther's. Both Uther's tomb and Uther's ghost itself.
Right?
So, yeah, his ghost pops up quite a bit, and I think this absolutely is a direct nod to it. I think they're doing a really good job in terms of tying the talents into the lore.
I think he got more FaceTime as a ghost as he did as a person.
For sure, I think so. Yeah.
Timeline of World of Warcraft, he's been dead for a while, so other than flashback type stuff, we're only really going to be able to see him in ghost form. So.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, like you said earlier, he's in his Obi-Wan form.
Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely. I guess they only bring back dead orcs.
They only bring back dead orcs.
Yeah, not dead humans.
Yeah.
Well, they just need to get another paladin over there to res him. No, that didn't seem well.
Meta. That is meta.
Yeah, I don't get that. Just really quick tangent. If we're raiding and stuff and fighting and whatever, right? And we can battle res people and res people after they've died, why can't we resurrect dead lore characters? I'm just curious.
Because as player characters, we are only mostly dead.
And
That's
gameplay
right.
trumps lore every time.
And you need it. You need gameplay to trump lore. Otherwise, you're going to run into issues where you have to play every WoW character hardcore. And I don't think that'd be too much fun.
Yeah,
No.
unfortunately, that's the case.
Well, at least you can bring them back to life over and over when you die in Heroes of the Storm, Rem. Well, I don't mean you're going to die a lot. I guess that sounded kind of mean.
Did you say?
Supports we always die a lot. That's one of our main purposes in life.
I said you can keep resing them after you die.
Right.
So we're also going to talk a little bit about the skins. What is your favorite Uther skin, Rem?
I like the Space Marine, the StarCraft. I see. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it's a medic suit, right?
Yes.
It's a medic from StarCraft.
Yep.
Yeah, that's awesome. But the Judgment set is of course very cool because it's very, typical Paladin Judgment set armor. Even the standard Uther is. I mean, but it's Uther. You could put him in a loincloth, and he would still be awesome. Actually, Uther in a loincloth would be like really awesome. But I digress.
What is the fantasy behind that game?
Yeah, he's just awesome. He's a big, bad, awesome paladin. I don't know. Anyways.
Well, what was the
Yes.
other one that I saw was the lumberjack?
Do they have
Oh
a
yeah.
Jack one? I haven't.
Yes.
I
You can-
haven't got to see that.
You can dress up with like a lumberjack, and he has an axe, and he can go, wading through enemies.
Maybe they'll come up with a firefighter one for Ram.
A
Oh
firefighter.
man.
Oh, that would be so awesome.
I'm scared.
You're
I'm
right.
scared at the ramifications of this conversation. Yeah, I think the medic one's pretty cool. I'm scared because if this game's as successful as I think it's going to be, and a lot of WoW players play it, we're going to see a lot of people in Judgment. A lot of people in Judgment. So I'm interested to see what people pick as their favorite.
There's gonna be so many different skins out there, especially at the beginning. I think when there's fewer heroes, we're gonna see a lot more skins out for the heroes that they have. I know in League of Legends they kind of ran the point that there's so many heroes out there that creating new skins is like, you have to pick and choose who you're creating those skins for because they only have so much time, especially in a free-to-play game where you're not getting any revenue from the purchase of the game, and you're not getting any revenue other than purchasing of the skins. So I guess it's whoever, if Uther has a ton of people buying skins for him, they'll continue to make skins for him because those people probably, are looking for something new.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love skins.
Yeah, it's gonna be exciting to kind of see what they are able to come up with. And with Blizzard, they always have that they tread the line between the high fantasy, the serious, and the fun. So it'll be cool to kind of see what they go with that. So we're gonna move on now to our next segment, all about new players in Heroes of the Storm.
Heroes here! Heroes here! New heroes needed here! New heroes wanted!
And we're going to take a step back. I know last week we talked about feeders, but we really need to take the time to explain to all the new players out there what exactly a MOBA is. So Rem, have at it.
A MOBA is a multiplayer online battle arena where you play usually in teams. Teams of 5 seems to be pretty standard. You pick a hero, you pick a type of role to play, and you take your team and you play against another team, and you feed through 3 lanes, typically top lane, mid lane, bottom lane. Each person, depending on their role for the match, will go to a different lane. Usually it's very understood by the community what types of players go to which lanes, and you have towers in each lane that will help attack the enemies, and then the enemies have towers that will help attack your team, and the goal is to get all the way to the enemy side of the map and destroy their home base or their Nexus and win. And that's what a MOBA is. In a nutshell.
In a nutshell. Now, Xantar, what type of heroes go in what lanes?
Well, this changes over time, and League of Legends being kind of the long-standing one, we've seen it change a lot over the years. We've seen what types of roles go in what lanes not matter, and pretty much it to be kind of a free-for-all to the current kind of meta, which is another term, which is kind of the overall game style that fits. Which is right now you would have one kind of brawler, in the top lane. You'd have one kind of assassin type character or caster mage in the mid lane. You'd have a marksman or ranged type character that does physical or sometimes magic damage in the bottom lane, who would also have a support with them. And then you'd also have what's called a jungle, or in Heroes of the Storm, that's going to be considered what's called a specialist. And what they do is they go around through the different NPC minions and kind of farm some of those creatures, get some of the buffs that are available, and then they would go from lane to lane, providing ganks and helping those people in those lanes secure some kills against the opponents that are in those lanes.
Now, David, being the new player among us, did you have any questions for any of us about kind of the quick explanation for MOBAs that we gave?
No, that was pretty good. I've got a little bit of experience now. You want to jump into there, Adam?
Yeah, oh yeah, tell them. I know
Sure.
you got a chance to actually play League of Legends for the first time this week.
Yeah. If people who were listening last week, I was a MOBA virgin, but now I've kind of I've lost my purity a little bit, and as such things go, I wanted to be very slow starting out. Played on my own a little bit, did the tutorial, had the friendly British disembodied voice lady walk me through. So it was pretty straightforward in terms of just doing I guess the PVE equivalent. Would that be the way to put it? Going through the training areas, fighting the bots and things like that. So I finally brought up the courage. One interesting thing that I did find in that kind of training area is that I decided to play. I play a mage in World of Warcraft, so I decided to play the very rangy type mage type out of the three that they offered me. Wasn't comfortable at all at any point playing that character. But I said, I got to jump in. Might as well, hit the button. So jumped into a PvP 5x5. It was a very simple map. One thing was I'd forgotten that you have a limited amount of time to choose your champion. So I've got this stretch of like 8 guys. None of them are the guy I just played previously, and I'm kind of panicking a little bit. So I think it's human nature to choose the one that's most familiar. So I chose this Spartan King Leonidas looking Pantheon guy, I think, who, just looking at him, I know this guy's not a mage or any kind of ranged player. But you know what? I actually got in there. I guess I was top lane. Maybe that's where I was supposed to go. I'm not sure or not. But I was top lane through it. Kept running into this Cho'Gath champion who was kicking my butt quite a bit. But, we won the match. I'm 1-0 now. And, I wasn't great by any means, but I wasn't the worst. And, I held my own a little bit at least, and our team won. So, it was good. And actually afterwards, didn't get any kind of dissing, didn't get any kind of, I wasn't called any kind of names or anything like that. One of the people even added me to their contact list. So
Whoa.
I got some kind of influence point or something like that. I'm not quite sure what that is, but I think if anyone reports me, maybe that helps or something like that.
Nexus support story or a success story.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
So,
it sounds like is you
overall-
had a much better experience than I did the first time I was playing.
Than
'cause-
most do.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, I got taunted, and you're like, oh man, what am I doing wrong? And nobody wants to help. Sounds like you actually had a little bit of help there.
Yeah, no, it was really good. Felt comfortable. Kind of got, I probably wasn't great, but I think I was going against a player that I think knew what he was doing because he was kicking my butt pretty good. But I got about like 6 kills on him, and it was great. Had fun playing. It'd be better if I was playing someone I actually, gave a bleep about as opposed to just this random character, and that's why I think Heroes and Storms is great. But won my first match, made a friend. It's like, what are you gonna, what more can you ask for than that?
Yeah, sounds like you had a good time. It sounds like we can keep you on the show now because you might play another match or two before.
Well, I'm thinking of retiring undefeated, but I think I probably should play a little bit more than one.
Yeah, you're going to talk about Heroes of the Storm by never playing it.
Just on David's experience and having a positive experience, I have played the last couple of days. I've been playing LOL again, even though months ago I told myself I would never play this game again, right? Yesterday was full of teamwork and everybody chatting with each other, like almost every random match I played. People were coordinating what lanes they were going to do and what roles they were going to play, and just all of the matches I got in were just great. And then I played today, and it was like people took brain farts on themselves. I have no idea. People were being rude, which is kind of standard fare for League of Legends, to be honest with you. People were not agreeing and not getting along and video game stuff. But so it varies, honestly. It's just like real life. You're going to meet people who are great and helpful and great team players, et cetera, and then you're going to meet the big D-bags and people who don't care and don't know how to play co-op games very well. So, yeah.
Really, part of the reason we're doing this podcast, too, is to kind of build a community. So we can, if you want to learn to play a MOBA beforehand, you'll be able to know how to connect to us at the end of the show. Let us know. We can add you our friends in League of Legends. We can hang out, play some games. I mean, at this point, I don't think I have any of you guys in my League of Legends group, but I think we need to get that done.
I agree.
Yes, please.
We almost have a full 5-person team here anyways, except I think me and Xantar would be fighting over support.
I think the three
I'll
of
go
us would
top
be...
lane.
I-
Last time I went top lane, I went 22 kills, 3 deaths, and 3 assists. So,
I think that... So do you play support, Xantar, or is it you mix?
I main in ranked. I main support. I'm working on my top lane game though as well.
I mean, I play support too, so we can play 3 support people. That'll be fun.
There we go. They'll just never be able to kill us. That's fine.
Yeah.
We just won't be able to kill anything else either.
I'm the cannon.
I read an article today that said you can't win matches in a team full of tanks, right? And then I had a very fond memory way back in the day when I was on a team and we all played tanks and we totally won. So we should try out this all support theory.
Oh, we should. I'd play Tarek though, because I can't play any other support.
And he's most fabulous.
Wait, no. First thing I did with Tarek is I bought his demon armor.
Yeah, good man. Good man.
I could 80 carry as Kale, bottom lane, somewhat well.
You know, it's the first time I've ever, kind of getting a little off topic, I was playing this past weekend. First time I've ever played mid on my own as a support, and it didn't go too bad. I stayed alive, and I killed the guy a few times. I was really nervous because from playing before, I was always paired up with somebody, and they never sent me in the middle alone. So like you were saying, it changes over time. It's just not a change I'm used to.
Right. Yeah, I've never played mid as a support, ever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Always top or bottom with a carry.
Well,
Or a person to do all the damage for you.
It changes too. I mean, because even in League, I mean, you see a lot of mages that traditionally are mid lane become supports, and people kind of take these champions that aren't necessarily thought of for one role and start using them in that role, and it can completely redefine how that role plays and can really kind of change up the dynamic and make it really hard to play against. And so sometimes there's some weird matchups that can be really interesting.
I agree.
Oh, definitely. And now we're going to head into our question part of the show with that.
Questions.
So each week we're going to take a couple questions from you, either through the Twitch channel, through our email, show@heroesofthenexus.com, and answer questions both about the game and maybe, eventually when it comes out, a little bit of strategy, maybe about us if you guys have any questions about our experiences. So the first question we have today, actually, we pulled it out of the Twitch chat room, and it was from Joe Brew 28. He said, "Do you think it is contradictory to use MOBA terms for heroes? Like, do we need to make a new term for this game?" What do you think, Rem?
I don't think that heroes will dynamically change so much that most of the terms that we use in other MOBAs will translate over. Like, I'm pretty sure if you learn League of Legends terms like carry and laning and push and all of this stuff is going to be relatively applicable to Heroes of the Storm, in my opinion. And the reason I think this is because people who play League of Legends, people who play Dota, are gonna try Heroes of the Storm. Like, I'm pretty sure that's gonna happen. And so when new players who have never played a MOBA before are playing it, they're gonna see all of these veterans or experienced MOBA players using these terms, and they're gonna pick them up because it's the internet, and we all learn from each other. And so I just don't see the chances of new terminology really cropping up.
Mm-hmm. Any of you two have any idea about that, or are you kind of in agreement with Rem?
Blizzard will try and make new terms. They'll definitely try to. They'll try and distinguish themselves with different terminology, but for sure. But I doubt it'll click. MOBAs are far too established, and the roots are way too deep in the ground for them to pull them out and plant something new in there. But so they'll try, I'm sure. But I don't think that A, they'll be successful in doing it, and B, that really what's the harm in us using terms that are already there. I mean, one way or another, new players will have to learn new terms, whether they're new terms that we've been using in other MOBAs or they're new terms that Blizzard makes. They're going to learn either way, so may as well kind of continue the train that's already moving, I suppose.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think, once
To
the
kind of back that up, sorry, To kind of just back that up really quick, like, look at Blizzard is already trying to call it a hero brawler. They're like, that's what they're trying to term the genre of the game, but we're still calling it a MOBA. Like, they're already trying to change the name of the genre of the game, and it's not really sticking. So, go ahead, David.
Yeah, no, it's just it reminded me of a story. It's like a friend of mine and I were watching some of the StarCraft championships, and some of the terminology came up. And he's not someone who's played any StarCraft, and he's not someone who's played any kind of MOBAs, but he does play MMOs. And they were talking about zerging, and he was like really amazed. He's like, "Oh, there's really such a thing as zerg. Like, I didn't realize it wasn't a verb that you just used. It's actually something out there." So, terminology just like zerging is so much out there and so much part of the games. I can't see it really changing.
Mm-hmm. Now, another question we had, and actually also in the chat room, is from Cage of Hell, our friend. He wanted to know which is the best hero to start playing as. Xantar, do you have an idea from a little bit you've played, or?
I mean, if I look at League, which is again the only real kind of comparison we can draw is champions that are easy to play, and I won't really know until I look into some of the abilities in each champion pool in Heroes, but champions that are simple are champions that have a lot of passive abilities, champions that have execute abilities, and just kind of all-around healers. So right out the gate, I think Uther is going to be really easy to kind of get a handle on, but otherwise it's tough to say without really kind of getting in depth into the abilities that each specific champion has, because one thing about MOBAs is there's not a style of play that is easier than others, despite what some might say, and it's going to take some time for us to figure those out, and as we mentioned earlier in the show, whatever you play in other games will not likely translate into this. Mm-hmm. I play a mage in WoW. I can't play casters in this game or in League. I can't do it. It doesn't translate. They're very, very different. So it'll take some time, but that's what people are going to have to come into this game with is an open mind and give themselves the patience to try out different roles and see what fits.
Yes, I agree with you 100%. The one thing I would add to it is, in terms of gameplay, if you had to pick a type, I think, to play from the start, is I believe it would be like the warrior type, where they can do damage and they have some staying alive ability, so you're not running in and dying too quick, or you're not using like a support's abilities properly. So I think it'll take, like you said, time will tell.
Don't they recommend Jim Raynor as the starter one? I think I remember reading that they were saying he's the cheapest one to start out with.
Yeah, they said that he would be a good entry level basic kind of class. And I think it's because generally, in video games in general, where there are multiple options of types of characters to play, a damage dealing, straightforward type of class is usually the easiest thing for people to understand. You push buttons and you do damage. There's not that much to have to think about. Not that I'm saying people are dumb, but when you're learning how to play something that you've never known how to play before, never tried before, you want it to be straightforward and basic and simple.
Mm-hmm. So Jim Raynor is the arcane mage of Heroes of the Storm, is what you're saying. Yeah.
I guess so, yeah.
All right, I'm there.
Mm-hmm. We had another actual great question from Joe Brewer in our chat room. He said that he's going to be playing Heroes of the Storm for sure, and should he play League of Legends to prepare himself?
I mean, I'll jump in and say
it's a bad idea.
I think it's a great idea. I mean, to be honest, I think it's really a good idea to jump in, get a little bit of practice in another game. It's made me already feel more comfortable at the time when I'm going to be jumping into Heroes. Also, I mean, the thing too is, and this is more kind of, it's an awkward social thing, but when you're going to be playing Heroes, you're probably going to be playing with your friends, right? And, there's a positive to that, which is, you're going to have people there to support you. And, so that's the good side about jumping into Heroes. On the other hand, though, I kind of don't, if I'm going to be playing with my friends, I don't want to suck right off the top either in front of them. So I wouldn't mind jumping into League of Legends just to really kind of get myself acquainted to it. and at least be able to come in with a certain level of confidence and a certain level of knowledge heading into Heroes.
Mm-hmm. Anything to
It's
add,
kind of
Xantar?
it's kind of there's two kind of schools of thought here. If you start now and start with League, you've got several months before you're going to start playing Heroes, but you're kind of jumping into the frying pan. You're jumping into a community that at times can be very, very toxic. It can be very difficult to learn right out the gate, especially if you don't have people playing with you. But you're going to be playing with a lot of people that have been playing MOBAs for quite some time. And that learning curve, once you get over it, you might accelerate a lot more quickly with your learning than you would otherwise. The school is starting with Heroes, and like you said, you're going to be playing with people that are already on your battle.net, your real ID, your battle tags. And that is going to be a little bit of a different scenario. You're going to be learning a little bit more with training wheels. So you may not learn as quickly, but you also may not get as far as you could, as fast as you could, because you're going to be playing with people that are supportive and are going to help you learn, but they also might not be as critical on you, and you might not get some mistakes through your head as quickly as you might with people that are very critical.
Yeah, I think it really comes down to your personality. I mean, if you come out of LFR in World of Warcraft and you're feeling down because people are complaining, maybe jumping into LOL isn't the right way to go. If you got a pretty thick skin and you're willing to take the heat, and really it just blows off you, I would say for sure start playing, because it's going to give you a heads up and a leg up going in.
Yeah. And my general advice would be just don't pay fun suckers any mind, because the more mind that you pay them, the more they're going to be a fun sucker. It's called not feeding trolls. Don't feed the trolls. So, and it applies to every video game.
Oh,
And you're muted.
Adam?
So
There we go.
So we're going to go into our last question of the night from @BulletCatcher02. What is your favorite feature so far, and what is your favorite skin, or what skin would you like to see? Xantar?
No items. No items is the single biggest thing that will happen to this game versus others. Literally today is a great example, because like I said, in League, they just dropped a big patch, and there's probably, 100, 150 items in that game. You're building one item into another. They're buffing items, nerfing items. You start to build different ones for different situations or different compositions you're playing against. One item today broke the entire game and how everyone plays it. Items are a very, very dangerous thing that I'm sure most MOBAs would love to get rid of if they were not already implemented into their games. So the fact that this doesn't have any takes this huge, massive behemoth of an issue, especially when it comes to balancing, and removes it out of the game so they can focus on the thing that matters, which is the champions.
And skin that you like, or one that you want to see?
I would... Oh, this is tough. I'd probably really like to see a Tarek Gosa themed skin for someone. I don't know who, but if there's something Tarek Gosa-ish, I would be happy with that.
Okay.
You prefer her as a champion to be added into the game?
I think she'd be a little bit one-trick pony to be a champion, but who knows? There's smarter brains than mine at Blizzard that could maybe make it work.
Okay.
And Rem, what do you think?
Let's see. Favorite feature so far. Well, he stole the store thing, so the shop thing.
It's twice today.
I can't,
Well, you can have the same favorite feature. I mean, it's not a problem.
yeah,
Freebie, no levels.
Super stoked for that. Yeah, see, but I'm not sure how I like the group leveling thing is. I want to wait on that to have judgments on it. It's good in essence. Support won't be like 4 levels behind the damage dealing characters. Anyways, I digress. Yeah, so we'll go with that. I'm looking forward to see how that works. So group leveling seems like a good thing. And then a skin. Does it have to be one? Because there's like tons. In fact, I could sum it up in like one thing here. Skins, I would like to see in Heroes. Every character have gold armor, like just all, like even an all gold Diablo, a gold Nova, gold Raynor, like just everything gold, dripping in
Q
gold.
Gold member.
Yes.
Golden pink. Golden
Ah,
pink.
yes.
Mm,
Golden pink, yes. I would be so happy.
I don't know about that one, but Dave, how about you?
I'm gonna touch on Xantar's point. The one thing I did find in my limited time in League of Legends, I had no idea what was going on in the store. Honestly, I'm a warrior guy. It's offering me to buy a wand. I don't know what's going on. So the fact that that's not in there is great. In terms of a skin, being from Toronto, I'd kind of like to see a Rob Ford skin for Stitches. I think that would really that would get me pretty much playing this game all day. I
What?
Mayor
He's our
Rob
mayor.
Ford
He's in the
skin.
news a little bit.
We just got Stitches sitting in front of a table with some white powdery substance in lines in front of it.
That's right.
Oh,
Stomp
It's
Lord.
been on the news, I guess.
Yeah.
Now, for
Awesome.
me, by far my favorite feature is the team leveling. I know you're questioning it, Rem, but I look forward to it. I think it's going to speed up the game, just like no items and having to go back. I like the little speed up of the game things that they've thrown in there. And for me, very similar to yours, it's a lot of skins, but one kind of theme is every World of Warcraft character in a StarCraft theme, like they did with Uther, because I just think that looks awesome.
Yeah. I think they should do that with like across all the games. So like every World of Warcraft character that's in there should not only get a StarCraft themed skin, but also a Diablo themed skin, and then rotate. So every Diablo character in there should get a World of Warcraft themed skin. Like, could you imagine the Witch Doctor from Diablo is a character in Heroes of the Storm, but could you imagine him dressed up like a Fellhound or something? No, that's a bad example. Or something like that. But you get what I'm saying? But anyways, and then
Turn him
I
into
think
a Zerg.
it's round robin.
Oh, you just brought light to my head. Imagine Marine Illidan. Boom.
So cool.
Yeah, I think that would be good. I mean, one of the
Yes.
things, when you're talking about the Witch Doctor, you could probably drop a troll character as a skin in there, right? Like,
Oh, yeah.
one of the
Yeah, give him
Zalazanes
some
or one of those
tusks.
guys. Yeah.
Right.
A Vol'jin kind of skin. Yeah, that could be cool.
Yeah.
Hmm.
See, now we're thinking.
They should get us on that real quick.
Send all checks to Blizzmaster.
Okay.
Yes. Get on it, Blizzard. Get on it.
And that's about it for our show today. Any final words from any of you guys out there?
I want to play. Beta key, please.
Beta key, please.
Blizzard, please.
Beta
Please
key.
respond.
Yes, please.
So, Rem, you want to let them know how they can get a hold of us after the show, if they want to play some League, if they want to ask questions?
That's right. You can email us at show@heroesofthenexus.com. You can check out heroesofthenexus.com to find all of the episodes, all of the stuff that we'll be doing with the website, and all of that great stuff. You can follow the show on Twitter at the Nexus Podcast. And of course, you can find this and other great podcasts on the Blizzmaster Network at blizzmaster.com. And we all have our own Twitter accounts. I am at Remedeezy, Remedeezy. I'll let you guys do your own. Go Xantar.
I'm at Brillan CTR.
Oh.
L.
2 L's, 2 A's. I cut him off. I'm sorry.
Okay.
And Xantar?
So pretty straightforward. You can find me at the Xantar, and that's not a Z. That's an X. Xantar.
And you can find me, Adam, at Geek of Random on Twitter. There's a lot of different ways you can be able to download our podcast and watch our podcast now. Obviously, we're on Twitch, we're on YouTube, where you can find us on Stitcher, YouTube. Oh man, I'm screwing this one up. Stitcher, iTunes, Zune. I kind of put it out there so we're everywhere. Come to heroesofthenexus.com because we do have forums up, so we can really start talking. Throwing your ideas out there. You guys have a great weekend, and we'll see you next week.
Hooray!
Yeah, everybody.
Okay.
Hi,
and
everybody.
hit stop.
Stopping.
Man, I need to
Stopped.
remember to write the end of it down better. I have it all written out normally on my other show.
Oh.
I missed it.
Now, do I save project or save project as?
So what you do
Export.
is you go to File, Export, and then MP3. It's going to have you download an
Gotcha.
add-on, and then you can either just email me the MP3, or you can actually drop it into the box at the end, or the Google box, because I can pull it off of there.
Your tracks will be mixed down to 2 stereo channels in the exported file. Don't show this warning again. Okay. Edit metadata. I'm not going to do
All
that.
right. I have a question to ask the chat room. What did you guys think? Did you guys feel like, if you're new to MOBAs particularly, are you guys like learning stuff? Are we pretty good at explaining the complicated stuff of MOBAs? Oh, Cage says yes. And we know Cage is a total noob when it comes to MOBAs, so that's good.
Das Nub.
Das nub. And he's also buzzed, so that's helpful.
He's being truthful then.
Exactly. Anyways, I hope that you guys are enjoying this. David, I am so sorry. I feel like I cut you off like 3 times tonight.
Oh no, it's okay. I think I was jumping in and out pretty a lot, so that's on me probably.
No, it's probably like I feel like I'm a little bit delayed from you guys. Well, we're having like massive thunderstorms right now, so I think that's why I disconnected earlier. So yeah, like I'm probably delayed. Like you guys are talking and then I don't hear it, and then I cut you off, or I don't know. So, I'm sorry, is what I'm saying. Yeah.
So I was a bit of a feeder my first time out. I had 5 kills and 14 deaths.
Whoa!
Yeah, but I
That's
wasn't
probably
the worst.
better than I did.
Yeah, someone else had 4 and 16 deaths. Someone had like 2 and 22 or something like
Well,
that.
were all your deaths early on in the game, or did they kind of spread out evenly through the whole game?
Kind of spread out evenly. I tried to stay behind the minions and everything like that. It's just I was running into that Shogath guy who I don't know.
I'll teach you one trick that'll change your life.
Okay.
So you have 2 different types of minions normally. You've got your shield minions and your caster minions.
Yeah, I didn't
When you
even
fall
know.
behind,
Yeah.
so you get 3 melee. They're worth more gold than the casters are, and you get 3 casters. When you fall behind, farm under your tower. Your tower will shoot the minions, of course.
Yeah.
Shield minions take 2 hits before they get low, so you want to let them take 2 hits, then hit them in your last hit. And caster minions will take 1 hit, then they'll be low, and then you want the last hit.
Okay. All right. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
I was
so-
pretty much on my own up there for the whole time. Like,
Yeah,
it was just,
and you usually will be up top lane.
Yeah.
Top lane's like a remote island all on its own.
Yes, yes. So one thing I was gonna kind of like add to what Xantar was saying is like, especially if you're playing top and your jungle isn't anywhere near. It's been a long time since I've played top. So, anyways, if you're like trying to push forward and you're getting, like you're head on head with, I don't know, 2 other enemies, like actual player enemies, and you're getting really low, like don't be afraid to fall back. Like I think a lot, like the problem with MOBAs and when new people come into them, I think people are afraid to do that. Like
Yeah.
people come in with the
commit.
mentality of you fight until you die, and then that's the point of the game.
Like you
But
have to take them
in-
from 100 to 0 in one go.
Exactly, yeah. And so if you die, you're just going to res, right? It's like World of Warcraft. But in MOBAs, it's actually better to fall back, get health back up, recall all the way back if you have to, than to die. Because dying is bad. And
Well, yeah, and that was
yeah.
the biggest thing for me too. Starting like you feel like once you hit them once, you're committed. You cannot stop till one
Yes.
of you die, and
Yeah.
that is the worst attitude to have in that game. Like
Yeah,
Yeah,
so-
I
the
don't
best
know, I don't
attitude
know
you could have is like hit once or twice and then fall back, and then go forward when you get a good chance and hit once or twice more and then go back. And
Yeah,
Just
I don't know
fall
what it
back
was with
until-
the. I don't
Sorry,
know what
go
it was
ahead.
with the champion I was playing. It's just the guy. I was trying that. Like I was like, I had no problem with cowardly retreats during that game. It's just he was pretty much like catching up to me. So I don't know if there's any kind of
Well, it
speed
depends.
buff that he might have had that I didn't.
The one non-support player I play is Warwick, and if you're under 50% health, he gets a speed boost. So he'll catch you if you're low. I don't know if that's who you're playing against.
Yeah, I was playing against this John Carter Amars looking guy. It was wasn't Cho'Gall. I kept calling him Cho'Gall.
Cho'Gath.
Yeah, Cho'Gath. Yeah,
He's a pain in the
Cho'Gall.
ass.
Isn't
yeah,
that
he
a
was.
boss
He was definitely a pain in
from
my ass.
World of Warcraft?
Yeah,
Cho'Gall.
so it was, Cho'Gall is World of Warcraft. That's why I kept calling him that.
Yeah, and to kind of piggyback on his, you hit him once or twice and then run away. I mean, as Tarek, I run in, I stun him, I hit him like twice, and then I run back.
Right, yeah.
Garen's a really good top lane to kind of get used to because he's really simple. Like he's got a whirlwind ability, he has a silence, and Garen is a top laner for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And he's got like his ultimate is like an execute that does insane damage if they're below a certain percentage of health. So he's pretty easy. Tryndamere's pretty easy top lane because his ultimate makes him invincible for a little while. So it's kind of a good oh shit button. And Jax is a really good top laner.
Jax is so much fun to play.
Yeah, Jax is my main when I top.
Like Jax.
Okay.
Yeah, that's good stuff.
All I know is that every time we talk about top and bottom, I think it sounds bad.
I know.
Well, that's why I play both.
Yeah, and like when I first started playing League of Legends, and like before you start a match, there's a little chat room type thing, and people will often, claim what lane they would like to play for that match. And so like you'll just see people just type in their top, bottom. It'll be like 3 people like back to forth, like they're claiming their lanes, right? And I didn't understand this when I first started playing League of Legends. So I'm playing like a totally random hero. I'm like, oh, she's cute, I'm gonna play her, right? And so they're like screaming at me in the chat, bottom, 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 or something like that. And I'm like, what the are they talking about? Like, I don't understand. Why are you yelling at me? And then, of course, they're like calling me a feeder and a noob and all of this. But eventually I got smart and I like Googled it and I was like, League of Legends bottom. You know what I mean? And and then, I started to educate myself. So I think that there's absolutely no shame in being new, but learn how to, knowledge is power.
Yeah,
equip yourself with it.
My first time I didn't play Tark because I didn't really understand it, and I saw the werewolf, and I played Warwick. And they're like, you're supposed to be jungling. I'm like, what the hell are they talking about?
Yeah, what does that mean?
Yeah, actually, I'm really glad I talked to you guys before I did play, though, because I had somewhat of an idea what they're doing.
Anywho, it was a fantastic evening. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to take off.
Yeah,
But thank you, Adam,
Yep,
for
you too.
having us
Thank-
on the show again.
Oh, no problem. I think, Cage asked if Xantar was going to be back, and unless he didn't hear it, Xantar is going to be here when he can to start, and then later on he should be able to be permanent.
Yes.
So it'll be great.
Very near future. You'll
Hooray!
see
I'm
more.
excited.
Yay!
More of me, hopefully with a haircut looking a little bit nicer, but yes.
Aww. Xantar, we have to... all 4 of us, we should hook up and actually play
Whoa.
LOL together.
Whoa. That
Should play
escalated
together.
quickly. This is
What?
my... Oh, I'll
You
put
can-
it in stream. That
Xantar,
is
you can
my
have
weakness.
top. I'll take bottom.
I'll play Warwick, so I'll jungle. See, we're being team players now.
Yeah,
Just
and
put
then
me-
if
put me
David
where you
wants
want.
to play really pew-pewy type characters, then he can play mid,
Sure.
and we'll just need somebody to be carry for the bottom.
Well, Pew Pew
And we'll
can
be good.
carry. You can play like a
I'll
dash
play-
or something.
Well, I mean, we need a 5th player, though. Well, yeah, we'd have to figure it out, but we could
Yes.
make a winning team here.
My league name
Oh.
is in Twitch chat, so feel free to add me.
Oh, yay.
I'll be
Yay.
playing lots, probably.
I actually have to go figure
That's
out what
where
mine
I'm
actually is.
Yeah.
I'll play.
Oh, yeah,
I'll
I
play
have to look
Peter.
mine up, too. I'm pretty sure mine's like Remedies or Remedies-y, one or the other.
I think I'm ACE 0584. Either that or I'm
Is it your
Pinbar.
log-
I don't remember.
Sorry, is it your
You need to make
login
some-
name or the name you go under?
It's the name you
Your
chose at the
summoner
top
name.
after you log in. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, so I'm Pinbar.
Like go by your
Pinbar.
I think
I'm-
I'm either Remedies or Remedies-y.
My favorite one is he's a really good player. His name is Level 9 Zubat.
Mine is named
That is
after
awesome.
my D&D character that I was playing at the time.
Oh, nice.
Yep.
I played
Mine-
with a guy today named Chuck Norriside, and I thought it was the coolest name ever.
Mine's we can be zeros.
I like that.
So put them in the show notes so I don't forget about them.
Oh, yeah.
And then I'll add you guys.
Alright, everybody have a good night.
You
Good
too.
night.
Guys.
We'll see you guys around.
Yeah.
Oh, chat room.
Bye, Chatham.
Awesome.
Thanks for coming out
Bye,
again.
chat room.
We'll see you
Bye,
next
chat
week.
room.
Bye, chat room.